All right. Hey, this is all about air guns and the Air Gunner Challenge with Rossi Morreale.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right. Welcome in, all you gun talk hunters. I'm your host, KJ, and Rossi Morreale is with me today with American Airgunner. Like, this guy has probably forgotten more about air guns than I'll ever know, and he has a show. He's got kills behind his belt. But first, we're gonna do a poem from AI about Rossi Morreale. Arkansas made, where Razorbacks run and legends are laid. Now he calls Los Angeles home, but you can't take the woods out of his bones. From chasing bass at first light's glow to stalking game when the cold winds blow. On camera or off, it's always the same. A hunter's heart and an outdoorsman's flame. City streets and Hollywood lights, but Rossi still lives for opening nights. Of seasons of stories, of shots that ring true, an Arkansas soul with a California view. That's you, dude.
That's what. I mean, hell, I don't know if I could have said any better myself, to be honest.
Right? I'm telling you,
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, AI knows too much.
Yeah. I was like, I just had a moment with myself. I'm like, that is me. Like, that's
Right?
great.
It's
You're
hit,
doing
like,
good. You're
the
doing
surprising
good.
thing is it doesn't miss. AI, like, it hasn't missed. Like, and I like it's uncanny. But so that was AI's version. Now, Rossi, like, give us your version of who Rossi Morreale is.
Oh man, I would say first, first things first. I'm a child of God, and that's good enough.
Yep.
So I'll start
Yeah.
there. Like that's enough for me. And then on top of that, I'm a father of two little girls, 10 and 8.
You're
Of
going
all
through
the
the
stuff
teenage
I've
years,
done,
huh?
yeah, I mean, of all the stuff I've done in my life, man, being a dad
Yeah.
is the best thing ever. I'm coaching flag football, I'm coaching soccer, I'm coaching basketball. I'm coaching an all-star team right now of fifth graders, and we won the Super Bowl last year. My team was the Razorbacks, and so like I feel like I'm getting more out of that than I do anything else.
Yeah.
And being a husband, I pride myself on being a good husband and loving my wife the best way I can. And actually the way that she wants to be loved, which is new for me,
Yeah.
right? Not just, hey, this is how I love, like this, deal with it, right? So some growth in there.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, man, I'm an adventurer. I have jumped out of airplanes, flown fighter jets, ridden in tanks, driven tanks, ramped El Toro Loco. I've been in, NASCAR trucks. I've done backflips on motorcycles at Travis Pastrana's house. I have hunted, fished. I have, there's not enough out there for me that I've already done and to keep doing. And the most important thing I want to do is I love to entertain people. I don't care if I wake up and there's a stranger in my house. I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? You want to sit down and talk? Like, what do you want to play a game? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I just love to entertain. So I do a lot of live events, live speaking, corporate events. I do a lot of auctions for galas, like for charity kind of stuff, because I love, it's kind of a way for me to give back and do an hour of stand-up comedy while I'm doing it. So man, if you're within an earshot, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to try to entertain you, and just create fun in this life, man. We ain't got that long.
No,
So
we
I'm just
don't.
trying to create as much good times along the way as I can.
And I feel like you're aging faster than normal because you have two daughters. Like, I really feel that would age me quick.
Yeah, this used to be black, like not too long ago. The hair though, I haven't touched, right? The hair's still good. No real grit, a little bit, right? But I think I'm maintain. I think I was, when you just, well before I had daughters, I was like, I'm gonna have daughters. Like, I think I was born for daughters. Like, I just think I'm the kind of guy that was born for daughters in like a good way. I'm all about raising strong women.
Yeah.
but also strong women don't intimidate me, right? I know a lot of guys are like, oh, I want a strong woman. I'm like, no, you don't.
No,
You can't handle us.
you
The
wouldn't know
reason
what
you
to
fight
do.
with your wife is because she's got too much of a personality and too many opinions, and you don't like it. So I think I'm genuinely geared for that.
Yeah.
And I just love empower. Like I love coaching right now because I like empowering these young girls to young women as fifth graders. Like I've coached little boys. When you coach little boys, you're like, Brandon, listen, shut up, do what I tell you, right?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Do that with girls.
yeah, can't do that with girls. And so I will tell you, man, and especially like now, like this kind of fourth grade, fifth grade, I'm like, how can I coach you better? Like, help
Yeah.
me speak to you in a way that helps you understand
Yeah.
and makes you want to be better. And they're like, huh? And it's funny because then I actually come home and say that same thing to my wife. You wouldn't believe how much it works. Like when you respect and empower your
Yeah.
wife and say, honey, I want to hear, I want to know, talk to me. Like
Yeah.
it's really a good response. So I'm gonna try to do that more. I'm learning more about my wife through a fifth grade all-star team than I think I have in 15 years of marriage. So
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Man, so do you get them? So talk a little bit about American Airgunner. And we were just talking about this right before we hopped on, like that. I mean, you're going to be filming season 6 coming up and potentially getting me out there to film. Where do you guys film it, and what's that process like for you guys? And kind of give them a little background on American Airgunner.
So we've got 2 shows. There's 2 shows. American Airgunner is the overall brand.
Right.
And then what was American Airgunner when I got started in 2013, it was kind of a magazine show, right? So every A block, A through D block were something different. It was a 5-minute hunt, new gun coming out, kind of gun review type thing. We would go to some, like Texas gun show or something like that. And then we'd go to some sort of an event, right? So it was just kind of the world of air guns, which you can imagine the amount of people that cared about that, which was 7. 7 people cared about that. So that was in 2013, and that was the show. It was a show by Umarex, who's a gun company, an air gun manufacturer. And that was it was their show. I was just the host.
Yeah.
And so we only talked about a couple of types of guns, and it was the types that they make, and they sell more the Walmart style, lower end guns at the time. I did not. I was a TV host. I hosted Junkyard Wars on, TLC. I was doing Dating in the Dark on ABC. I had at the time I had a show called Can You Duet on CMT. It was like for country duos, like American Idol, but for country duos. I was an Arkansas boy, came out to California on vacation, stumbled into TV and just started hosting TV shows. I mean, as you could tell, I got a lot of energy and all that stuff comes naturally. So buddy of mine from back from Arkansas was like, man, we're looking for a host for this show. Like, would you be interested? I'm like, sure. So I start shooting air. I'm like, what's an air gun? I had a Daisy Red Rider. I had a Crossman Pump Master 720, and then I got a 22 and a 410 shotgun, and pretty much everyone's story, right?
Oh yeah.
And I get out there, and they want to see if because the guys, they think I'm some California, Hollywood, whatever. So I go back to see my family for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something. And they're like, well, let's meet up and, come out and do some shooting. They put like 8 bottles on the, rim, and they give me a 50 caliber air gun. And I'm like, what is this? They're like, it's a 50 caliber air gun.
That's a gun.
I'm like, what do you mean air gun? Like, my head's like everybody, like airsoft, like that's what everybody says.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting about a 250 grain slug. Probably, I think that gun's one of the smaller ones, probably like 700 feet per second.
Yeah.
Doing 350, 400 foot-pounds. And, I just get bang, bang, bang. It's accurate. I hit all the bottles. I mean, I'm 15 yards away. I mean, they just want to see if I could shoot. I'm like, man. So I started hosting American Airgunner. So American Airgunner was that show.
Yeah.
I took over in 2019. And in 2018, or that season, so in 2018, we turned it into a hunting show.
Yeah.
Like we went on, just because that was when like 50 cal, like big time 50 caliber 357s, these arrow guns. We shot an arrow through a production van just to see so we could find something to stop it. It's shooting these arrows out of the gun at 500-600 feet per second with a broadhead on it. I mean, this sucker is I shot it through a 1-inch cutting board, like at 100 yards. Like we get to I'm like, did I hit it? we got the banana like
It
that.
through.
Yeah, I hit it. The hole like this big. The thing's a thick. I mean, I was like, what is this? Right. So we start doing hunting shows. And I mean, that beautiful beast you've got right behind you. I've got one in my dad's lake cabin that I shot with a 50 caliber Umarex hammer.
Really?
Yeah. I came around a corner. I dropped down on my knee, shot it. Got hit in the face, scoped me, and that thing took one step and dropped. That's a 750-pound beast, right? I mean, so then it was like, what? We went, I mean, it was red stag. I shot a hog out of a helicopter, one shot and flipped it. Kudu, we went to Africa. I mean, I shot the first bull elk with an air gun in 2022. It was like, what can you not hunt with an air gun?
I don't think there's, I really don't think there's much that you can't do with an air gun. And, if the government knew the kind of power those were packing, they probably wouldn't be so keen on them because they don't seem to want to touch those.
They're still considered BB guns.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they think. If you say an air gun, they're going, oh, okay, like your Little Red Rider. Well, these are a little bit different than that. But my hunting experience with air guns was we went off to Puerto Rico and we laid waste to iguanas. And oh my gosh, that is so much fun. If you're out there and you're within earshot or you're watching this, man, that is a must hunt because
you can go down to Florida and do it now.
Yeah, you can.
It's legal in Florida with air guns to take iguanas within the city limits. You got to go through one of the licensed guys down there, but we have done that many times because those iguanas are crazy, and you got these 22, 30 cal, 357s, and it's like, I mean, you don't.
And they want you to shoot them. Yeah. Like they're invasive.
So like it's the air gun hunting side of things was crazy. And so American Airgunner, the hunting show airs on the Sportsman's Channel. Yeah. In 2020 during COVID, right before I was like, I want to do it. I used to love Top Shot. And it just disappeared. And so I was like, one day I'm gonna do like my version of Top Shot with air guns. And we did it. We just did in 5 days. We shot 10 episodes. I got some air gun buddies that I knew, and we did it. And when COVID hit, I had it packaged and edited. I called them. I was like, guys, I got content ready to go. They took it on, and here we are. Season 5's airing right now. We're about to shoot season 6. And so that's the Air Gunner Challenge, and that's on the Outdoor Channel. Yeah. And so those are the two shows we have. So we did 12 seasons of American Airgunner. Our last season was in 2024. Yeah. Me and my dad and 2 female hunters went to Africa, took 10 plains game animals with air guns, arrow guns, like you name it. The animals I still can't. I'm always like, man, what did I shoot that one thing and had the horny? But like I got a kudu that was a killer shot with a 45 caliber. We took a zebra. We took 2 wildebeest, one with a 62 caliber air gun, shooting a 650 grain slug at 900 feet per second.
Gee,
it's like
700
foot-pounds.
I'm so in the realm of like bolt action rifles and high power stuff. Like that doesn't compute to my head. Like it doesn't compute that goes like, hold a second, you're shooting how big of a slug? And it's traveling 900?
I mean, for the people listening, like as big as your thumb.
Yeah.
Like that's how big the top part of your thumb, that's how big. And again, what's an air gun, right? So these air guns have some sort of a air tube on the gun. The guns look, for the most part, normal. A lot of times you'll see it looks like a little bit of an air tank, similar to paintball, but I do not want to give anyone the idea like it is not a paintball gun. Right. But what we're doing is we're filling those guns up with 4,500 PSI. Mm-hmm. Okay, you fill up a scuba tank with 5,000 PSI. Okay. So you fill up like an air gun or a paintball gun with 300 PSI. Okay. So we're filling these tanks up with 4,500 PSI. And then you're taking what looks like a regular bullet. It's just a big chunk of lead. Mm-hmm. 90% of them, I'd say, probably more than that, especially for big game hunting or hollow points, right? Because everything's subsonic, right? You're not right. That's what is it? 1150, 37 or something is the speed of sound. So everything is subsonic. And you're shooting it's just propelled by air. No, we don't have a backpack. No, we don't look like Ghostbusters. No, you don't have to pump it up. Like it just looks like a gun. And within the confines of the gun is this air tank that's holding all this air, high pressured air. And then, then it kind of goes into like a little plenum. And then when it releases, same thing like with a trigger, when hits hits the bullet, it hits a valve and it just releases air right. And it closes. And so that amount of air, and for the bigger guns, it's probably like 1100 or, like PSI is released quick and it fires that projectile out. So with a 50 cal, you're getting 3 shots, maybe 4 shots. With a 22, you're getting 80 shots, right? Because the air it just takes less air to move that projectile, right? You got you got a 22 grain pellet versus a 550 grain slug, right? So less shots, the bigger you go. And then when it comes to the Air Gunner Challenge, because there's aero guns, there's full auto.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
Auto. There's 50 state legal full auto.
Yeah.
Air guns shooting pellets. Now, all these pellet guns and air guns are now moving to slugs. Even in the 177 E22, we're still shooting these tiny 20 grain, 25 grain, 30 grain slugs. So for hunting squirrels, if you've ever been turkey hunting with an air gun, it's the best. Because if a group comes in, you get your limit because one falls over, they just load around like, well, what was that? And they just keep moving. And it's hilarious.
We're going to jump in here. We're going to take a quick break. But on the back end of this, I do want to explore this. Like, how do you select? Like, when you're looking at air guns, like, how do you select what's right for you? And I guess it's all on what you want to accomplish. But let's hop back on here in a second after a word from these sponsors.
The Ruger Precision Rimfire, or as the cool kids call it, the RPR. This beast has a heavy contour barrel, a Ruger Precision Rifle muzzle brake to tame recoil like a well-trained hunting dog, and an adjustable trigger that's smoother than your best pickup line at the bar. Need versatility? The multi-mag interface lets you run mags from AICS to Magpul style so you can stop hoarding magazines like a doomsday prepper. Plus, with a fully adjustable buttstock, this rifle fits you better than your favorite pair of hunting boots. Bottom line, if you want long-range accuracy, smooth operation, and durability built into one serious rifle, get yourself an RPR.
It's time to prepare for the shot of a lifetime. Whether you're a seasoned hunter or new to the sport, preparation is key. I preach it all the time. At Range Ready Studios, we offer the training you need to make that shot of a lifetime. Chris Serino is on staff, and he has a host of instructors on hand to provide personalized trainings in state-of-the-art facilities and practical exercises that build your confidence and skills. From precision marksmanship to quick target acquisition, we've got you covered. Don't leave your success to chance. Visit rangereadystudios.com to learn more.
You ever wish your hunting rifle had an optic so compact and tough it could probably survive a bar fight? Well, meet the EOTech Voodoo 3-9 by 32. At just 6.8 inches, this little beast is built from aircraft-grade aluminum because regular aluminum is for soda cans. It's fog-proof, waterproof, shockproof, basically life-proof. You get crisp second focal plane precision, cap turrets that won't get bumped out of zero, and an illuminated reticle with 10 brightness settings. And the best part? It's got an integrated base that plays nice with mini ACOG mounts. So yeah, it's short, it's sharp, and it's ready to make you feel like a marksman of legend. The Voodoo 3-9 by 32, because your rifle deserves better than good enough.
All right, welcome back, all you Gun Talk hunters. We are talking with Rossi out of American Airgunner, and is it American Airgun Challenge or Airgunner Challenge?
Air Gunner Challenge. I mean, I think it's unfortunately, I think it's both now. So sometimes if you're looking on, the guide on the TV, it's like American Air Gunner Challenge. On the show, we're like, Air Gunner Challenge. Yeah. But overall, it's probably American Air Gunner Challenge would be the proper name.
So, I mean, we've gotten into a little bit of starting, like, getting the background of, like, hunting with these air guns and their capabilities. But, like, in the average guy who's not really familiar with this, let's be honest, like, in my neighborhood, I cannot shoot a firearm. However, BB guns, air guns, they're less frowned upon, but they're packing just as much heat as you want. Like, it depends on what you go with. So how do you select? Like, how do you, Rossi, when someone comes up to you and says, dude, I don't know what to get, like, how do you direct them?
I mean, first of all, it's what do you want? The biggest problem with air guns is you have to have an air source, right? So you can't. There's not a air compressor at Home Depot that can provide enough air to fill your gun, right? So you have to. It's that specialty thing, right? You either have to have the right tank, like a carbon fiber tank or something like that, and either you go. A lot of guys go to the local. If there is a scuba shop or an air tank, like an air paintball shop, you can go and get the tank filled up there, right? Because you need to put 4,500 to 5,000 psi into that tank, right? So that's kind of the one thing, right? You can't walk into a store, buy a gun, buy some ammo, and go shoot. That's going to always be the problem with air guns. But once you're set up, I can shoot all day long for $10. I mean, how much is a 10 of pellets, right?
Right.
So that's the beauty, right? And the guns are some of them, there's everything from an entry level air gun. That's an accurate, like a good entry level gun. You can get around let's call it, sub $500. And then there's the competition air guns that are, in the $2,500 range.
Yeah.
There's a big competition in Utah called the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge. Utah Airguns puts it on, and there's $130,000 in prize money out there. But we're shooting 100 yards at a pencil eraser.
Yeah.
Right. And you've got 25 shots, only one shot per, and these guys are putting. Some of these guys are like 20 of them. They're hitting the 10 which is the size of an eraser at 100 yards. When you're shooting a 25 grain slug. So the slightest bit of wind moves that thing.
Yeah, quite a bit.
If you're not hunting, you don't need anything 357 or above, right? If you're going to go hunting, like in Texas, because the other thing too right now is that what we're doing as a collective is we have to go to the game and fish of every state and say, we want to open up airgun hunting for larger than usually turkey, sometimes coyote, sometimes rabbit is the largest.
Yeah. Okay. That's nuts.
Wow.
Like,
you hear that? Do you hear my neighbor's Maserati that just started? Sorry.
Oh, a Maserati just started. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought I heard something. I was like, was that my stomach? Like,
yeah.
I think it was no, it was a Maserati.
You want me to pause here and let this go?
Man, let him run it.
So that's the thing, right? Now the beauty of air guns too is everything. They're great entry level guns. It's a great way to teach your kids, young kids, female shooters, new shooters, how to shoot, because you can, when you're like this, it's like, I mean, there's no recoil at all. So we are on the show. We're opening beer bottles with a pellet. We're lighting matches with the pellet because you can dial it in, because you don't have to, there's no return back to, you were just dialed in, right? Your eyes are open, you got both eyes open, you can see everything, and there's no movement from that gun. So you get to you can get so precise, which is what's great about them. I can do sniper style shooting at 50 yards,
right?
Where I don't have to go to a range and go to 1,000 yards with my Ruger, right? I can play with it. If you're a gun geek and you like to really dial something in, you can do it with air guns.
Yeah, that's my problem, is that if I want to go really test my accuracy and test my distances, I've got to go find a range that's an hour and 20 minutes away, that's out in the sticks. Whereas you really need 50 yards. You get away with 100 yards, so you get even more precise, I guess. Distance.
Well, you get more fun if on a windy day. I mean, some of the best shooting is you just go out with your air gun on a windy day and you're like, let me see what I can hit.
Yeah.
And you can find it. And I mean, I won a competition with a 250-yard shot with a 45 caliber with a 24-inch drop, and I hit a 6-inch kill zone on a coyote, and I got disqualified because I was supposed to shoot the 8-inch wolf to the right, and I hit the 6-inch, and I was like, I'll take a disqualification, suck it. And now you win. you hit the more difficult target, right? So I mean, it's fun. It's different.
Yeah.
But as far as like what air gun to go with, it's what do you want to do? You want to shoot in your backyard? I give you 100 guns in the $300 to $700 range that are quiet, that make zero noise, that you can sit there and plink and shoot all day. All you need is any kind of stopper, right? Because you're still subsonic. You're not messing up your neighbors. If one gets away from you, if it hits a tree, it's going to fall down, right?
Right.
It's not just traveling through and through and through and through, right? It's not going through anything. So that's the kind of stuff that I think is great for, because you can go out in your backyard with your kids and you can shoot all day long. And when it's dinner time, you run inside, right? And it's not $1.50 every time you pull the trigger, right? It's 2 cents. So that's the biggest thing. Now, if you want to go like Texas laws and some of these state laws, they have a minimum, right? So it's like you have to have at least 400 foot-pounds or whatever. And so that's what they're doing with these air guns. When we go to the game and fishing, kind of say like, hey, we want to get big game hunting going on the state, then we have to show them the gun, show what they can do. We draw up the laws for them. And we've kind of made that where people aren't being idiots and trying to take a deer with a pellet gun, right? You're using the right tool for the job. So most of those, so I would say, big game hunting, 357 minimum, shooting slugs. But it's got to be a high power 357. 45 and above is probably better, because you got 45, 50, 62, and 72 caliber. The 72 caliber is hilarious. It's a 1,500 grain slug. That's
African big game.
I feel like I feel like an elephant. Yeah, I mean, it's like hitting something with a softball at 800 foot-pounds.
How much energy is that carrying downrange? I mean, that's got to be tremendous amount of energy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one. I mean, Air Force, they just came with a new Texan that's doing 1,100 foot-pounds.
Good gosh.
That was just released at SHOT Show.
So
now you're like
wrapping my mind around this.
So I think that's but you know the tricks of that kind of stuff, right? You put super heavy grain slug. Mm-hmm. You shoot it at as fast as you can. You get that kind of. But when you go hunting with that, you're going to dial down to probably a 350 grain slug. You're going to shoot at about 950 feet per second. You're going to stick around that 650 to 700 foot-pounds, because that is plenty for any animal. But you got to keep in mind, this is more black powder and more archery hunting, right? There is no kinetic energy that comes in small and blows out the heart.
Right.
When I shot my elk, shot it, it looked at me, ran off. We gave it some time, worked up on it, saw it was laying down. I kind of got on a little bit, like just to make sure. That sucker jumped up and ran for 2 hours. We finally found it. We tracked it and everything, found it, and it was dead. And when we gutted it and everything, I pulled out the heart. There was a hole in one side of the heart and a hole, same size hole, on the other side of the heart.
Really?
Right. So it's not, because it's subsonic, right? So you've got to get a little bit closer, and you've got to make a precise shot. You can't just sit in your stand at 300 yards and, get close and that, that kinetic energy is going to kind of come through and do the damage that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So it's a little, which again, I've killed everything out there too with a rifle. So this is more fun for me. I'm not much of an archery person, just never have been. So this is kind of that, like, but there's a lot of times you're sitting in the woods, 150 yards, you're like, come on, and off they go. And you're like, if I had my rifle, right? So there is that version of hunting that we get a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just a different thing.
Yeah.
Right?
It is, and it's the hunters looking for a little bit different challenge and something that's going to test their shooting skills and probably their patience at some point. I don't see why it wouldn't be a great idea for someone to start looking into something like this, because how many states can you hunt with air guns?
I think right now, big game. I think right now it's 27 or 28. So we're still there's a like a kind of a coalition of air gun manufacturers and different people. The ASA, Airgun Sporting Association, I think is what it's called.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we do. We reach out to states, and because you have to go, we have to write up the legislation. We have to go and present what we're talking about to the Game and Fish, because they don't know. They're like, a what? I mean, if you either know or you don't know. I mean, that's the deal.
Right.
So we're trying to grow that. And a lot of those states are moving air gun hunting to black powder season. Because again, similar ranges. So for those deer hunters, you're like, Okay, so I get to, because black powder, some people like it, some people don't, right? So air guns, it's like, okay, I can get out a little bit earlier, before rifle season starts, which is fun. Some of them are starting to allow, because one thing it allows with the arrow guns are, any disabilities with pulling back a bow,
Right.
you can now get out. And of course, the archery world is, how dare you, which is so funny, because the gun world used to be like, you can't take a deer with an arrow, and you're like in the 1950s, like, what are you talking about?
Hundreds of
They were
years.
doing it like since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah.
So everyone, but in my world, if you're giving a veteran or an older person or someone that just can't pull back a bow a chance to go out and do some arrow hunting,
Yeah.
even though it's coming out of a gun, but it's still quiet and it's still safe and it's similar, it's the same kind of aiming and that kind of stuff. Then move it in there, right?
Extending the distance of your shot by like 200 yards. I mean, you're not all of a sudden going to be like, well, it's shooting out of a gun, so he's going to be lethal out to 250 yards now. It ain't like that. And I think that's what people start to think. Well, that's just giving them an unfair advantage. No, it's just giving them a means to get out in the field. I think.
Yeah, an opportunity.
I mean, and that's all they need. Like they need that opportunity. So that's interesting.
Well, and if the outdoor community truly came together and supported the outdoor community, like if all of our goal was how do we get more people outside and off their freaking phones, no one would bitch about any of this, right?
No,
it's like, oh, arrows and air guns for, bow season. Yeah, let's get them out there. Let's get,
there are people out there that would complain because more people out in the woods are nope, tags going to go through the roof.
Right. More taxes. Well, and that's one of the biggest things too, right? With air guns, we don't have, there is no air gun tax.
Right.
Because they're, right. So some of the states are kind of like, this doesn't really work for us because the money doesn't come back to the state. So, we're trying to feel like, well, okay, well then you charge that tax on the air gun tag, just like you would on a bow tag. I mean, you just have to make, let's not, don't tell me what you can't do, right? Tell me what you can do. But again, politics is politics. I stay out of that. But
there's always
I just want
can do.
I think air gun hunting should be 50 state legal. I think it should be in black powder season, right? Because you're still, I'm not taking a shot over 100 yards. I've taken one shot at a deer at 120, and got lucky because I spined it.
Oh yeah.
But it's just there's just too much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too much. I know guys
when
that
you're talking about wind.
Yeah, but I know guys that have taken like woodchucks and squirrels at like 300, 400 yards with some of these like high powered $200, $2,000, $3,000 rifles. Get them dialed in. You're tuning them. Because there's those guns, right? That are the gun geeks. You get the gun, they're like, you can tune everything. You can decrease the hammer spring. You can do more air, less air. You got this plenum, that plenum. You got like 4 air gauge. And I'm like I want to pick up my gun and I want to put in the pellet and I want to pull the trigger. And wherever it hits, I'll hit my target the next shot, right? I'm more of a Kentucky wind gauge kind of guy than I want to I say that I've done it. And once you get these guns, because they have barrel harmonic tuners. And I mean, you can geek out on air guns more than you can with firearms because there's just so many options. You have so many cool things to play with. But at the same time, we're talking about high pressured air. O-rings don't have the best track record, when it comes to not blowing things up. I mean, air guns aren't blowing up, but I mean, high pressured air, O-ring, you got to take care of your gun. You need to keep it old. You got to, you got to take care of it. But a lot of the entry level guns that they take that out of you don't have to mess with that, right? The gun I have a couple guns, they sit in my safe and every single time I take them out, they shoot the same. They're good to go.
Yeah.
And they're affordable. And then, like I said, pellets are pellets. So I'm dialed in that, right? I got my air tanks. I've got a compressor and then now it's just pellets and ammo is way cheaper, for lead than it is.
There is that.
For bullets. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, dude, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you giving us a rundown. And where can they go watch and when should they start watching? And I mean, because season 5 is currently running and when does season 6 come out?
Season 6 starts in September. So we'll shoot that this spring with our contestants, a whole new group of outdoor influencers and shooters and hunters and sportsmen. So it's going to be a pretty fun season. And then that'll start September. And right now you can find the Airgunner Challenge on the Outdoor Channel every Wednesday night. You can find the American Airgunner, the hunting show, on the Sportsman's Channel every Thursday night. Check your local listings. On Friendly TV is a great place if you don't have it through your cable or satellite, or if you have like YouTube TV where they don't carry those channels. Friendly TV is like $5 a month, and you get you get all the fishing and hunting and outdoor channel and sportsmen. You can do that, and then you can watch on your phone. It also streams on the Outdoor Channel's streaming service, MOTV, and then of course go to AmericanAirgunner.com. You can buy the seasons there for like $20. You buy the whole season and watch it to your heart's content.
Hey, that's all.
And then YouTube and Instagram and X and
all of the things.
We got all the audiences. We got all the audiences covered.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, KJ, I appreciate it, man. This has been great. Listen, as you can tell, I got so much information. It's hard for me to try to cram.
I know.
It's hard, so man. Let's make this a weekly thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, when you're passionate about something, like, it doesn't matter how long you talk, because you can talk about it. And I love your passion, and especially for bringing it to more people that maybe have lost the ability to get outdoors, and this gives them an outlet. That is so important.
One of my favorite things to do is in the winter when you can't go out is go into my garage with my pistol, because there's a replica BB pellet or gun for every pistol out there. So you can work on draws, you can work on shooting, you can do all that in your garage. I know guys that have long houses and they'll shoot down the hall when the kids are gone, because again, it's a no mess, non-destructive, quiet sport. And you can, if you're being safe, there's a lot of opportunity just to keep shooting, no matter the month, no matter the weather, no matter where you live, because it's quiet, it's cheap, it's safe, and it's a lot of fun.
I love it. All right. All you gun talk hunters, you know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction, and always be on the hunt.